You asked for a video on cork filler, you got it. That's what's coming up. Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Reach. This is Weaver Leather Supply. Today, we're going to be answering your questions about cork filler. A few videos back, we did a project that looked like this when it was done. And y'all had all kinds of questions about cork filler. A lot of you said that you would really like to see a video just on that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So what is cork filler actually used for? Well, anytime you're going to be embossing leather, which is essentially where you're stretching and deforming the leather to make it work for your project, well, anytime we do that, we have to backfill that, otherwise it won't hold its shape. Now, the typical way, the traditional way this would have been done is by taking leather dust and contact cement and combining them to create kind of a dough. Now, you might be asking, what's leather dust? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. Just like if you were to sand wood and all that dust comes off, leather dust is the same thing. Most of the time, you can get this at like shoe repair shops for free. About 4 years ago, I got 5 gallons of it for free. The guy just let me have it. I think I've used like 2.5 gallons of it in 4 years. But you'd essentially take that dust, that leather dust, combine it with contact cement, you're going to get something that's the equivalent of like, almost like biscuit dough. It's a little stickier than that, but it's kind of like biscuit dough, and you would use that to backfill that cavity. Well, the problem with that is contact cement can be rather expensive, and that leather dust drinks a lot of contact cement. And that's where cork filler is going to come in. Cork filler is essentially little bitty tiny chips of cork that's combined with a few other things, and it has a little bit of an adhesive coating on the outside to make it sticky. It's not super sticky, but it's enough to make it stick together. Now, the reason we would want to use this over the leather dough is because cork filler, number one, it's easier to use. Number two, it doesn't stink as bad. And number three, it's more affordable. So now we know what it is. How do we actually use it? Well, to demonstrate that, I thought we would use one of the simplest forms out there, and that's a circle. Number one, it's very obvious if it's out of shape. Number two, it will let us see the really sharp edges that we can create with cork filler. And number three, we can give it a compound curve, kind of like a sphere. So since this video is really about the cork filler and a little bit about embossing, I didn't want to spend any time on the beginning steps, stuff like drawing it in, cutting it in, and beveling. To do that, I just used this roll of tape. I drew the circle on my leather, cut it in with my swivel knife, and then beveled it with a traditional bevel. Now I'm ready to go back and start embossing and stretching the leather. To do that, I'm just going to wet the leather a little bit more than if I were going to be tooling it. You don't want to take it too far, just a little bit more than if you were going to be tooling it. Then we can grab one of our oversized ball styluses. Now, these you can get at a lot of the craft stores, and almost all art stores will have something like this. I've even seen it done with a marble. So you just want to grab something that you can control, that's round, that we can start pushing against the back of the leather and stretching it out. This is 5-ounce leather, so really you don't have to push that hard. Just a little bit of consistent pressure, and it should move fairly easy. Just keep stretching from inside that circle that we created. Then, time to grab the glue. I'm going to be using barge contact cement. Just keep it inside that circle again. Once it gets tacky, you can add the cork filler. We just want a flat, smooth texture across the back. So it's pretty obvious that we need to back this with something. We need something on the back of it to hold that cork filler in place, because the glue, it's a great temporary solution, but it's not going to hold it there long term. To do that, I'm going to be using mat board. It's the same stuff they put around pictures and portraits and that kind of thing, and you can get it at most craft stores for about $12 to $14. So once we've got the cork filler in and it's shaped and it's flat, we can go back with the glue and apply another coat. We want it on the cork, we want it on the leather, and we want it on the mat board. So we're going to take that, we're going to set it aside, let it get tacky. Once it does, we can take the leather and the mat board and put them together. Once we've got them together, we can cut away the extra mat board around the outside. Pretty standard stuff. But from there, we really want to go back and make sure that we do two things. The first one is we really want to compress any of the flat areas so that we get good contact with that mat board and it holds nice and tight. The other thing that we want to do, we want to go back with our bevel. You can do a sharp bevel or a traditional bevel. You want to go back and you want to re-bevel the circle. That's going to give us a nice, crisp, well-defined edge. After that, it's just a matter of going back, looking at it from different angles, making small little adjustments just to make sure that we have the overall shape that we're looking for. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, go make something amazing.